Hello guys, it's Rhino and welcome to this Kickstarter preview. Today I have here with me the prototype of Endless Winter by Fantasia Games that is on Kickstarter right now and only for a few more days. Endless Winter Paleoamericans is set in North America during the early days of human expansion, around 10,000 BC. You are a leader of a tribe and the game follows several generations towards building a more prosperous tribal society. You will discover new lands and set your camps, you'll master hunting, grow your population, and build everlasting megalithic structures. There's a very interesting blend of worker placement and deck building in this game with a very robust design that makes the theme shine, and the way all these different details and parts are combined together make it pretty unique. Let's first see how the game plays and we'll get back to my thoughts on the game. So each player gets a player board and a chief for their tribe with a special ability, as well as a starting deck of cards from which you draw 5 as your starting hand. Here's your food and tools track, and you can gain 1 extra labor as shown here by spending your food. Labor is very important in the game as pretty much everything you do needs hands. There are 4 rounds in the game and players take turns in player order in each round. In your turn, you start by playing up to 2 culture cards if you want, representing craft, technologies, and cultural events for your tribe. Then you place 1 figure and perform the action you chose from the ones shown on the board, and there's an extra one on your player board. So how does it work? Each action on the board has 3 sections. The top section, the middle section, and at the bottom there is a bonus only for the first player who gets there for the round. You can perform the actions on each section as many times as you want, as long as you can pay the cost for it, or you can ignore it and move to the next section. For example, to perform this one, the hunting action, I place my figure there and I spend these 2 cards, which give me 3 labor in total, 2 from this card because it gives this hand and this extra one specifically for the hunting action, and 1 from the tribesman. So I have 3 labor points in total to perform these 2 actions, and then I can also spend 2 food to gain 2 extra labor and perform this second part again. If you use your chief's figure instead of the other figures to place on an action, it gives you automatically 1 labor, and you may use their special ability where it applies. Then, when you're done with the first part, there's a middle section with another action you can do as many times as you want, or can, and at the bottom, for all the actions, if you are the first one to get there, you can have the bonus shown. Each player has 3 figures, so there is 3 turns in a round. On your last turn in a round, you may keep some cards for the Eclipse, which happens at the end of the round. But we'll get to that in a bit. The rest of your cards in your hand, if any, are kept in your hand and you draw 5 more. Let's see each action in a bit more detail. The first action on the board is the Initiate action. By spending 2 labor, you can take 1 of the tribe cards and place it directly into your hand. As any of the actions, you can perform them multiple times as long as you can pay for the needed labor. If you take another tribe card, it must be of a different type. Then, after this, you may do the middle section, which tells you that with 1 tool, you can bury a tribe or a culture card. You place them face down over here and they remain there until the end of the game, when you get to score points for your total number of buried cards, according to your relative position on the honor track. Burying not only gives you a way to score more points at the end of the game, but it also allows you to thin your deck and keep more powerful cards, as during the game it becomes increasingly more difficult to play the cards you bought more than once as they go to your discard pile and your discard pile grows bigger. With the Develop action, for each 3 labor you spend, you get 1 culture card into your hand. With the middle section, you can get a sacred stone from the ones appearing up until your current round, and the cost for them is on the first available position on your player board. Sacred stones are unique and different for each game, and they basically give you incentives for set collection and other objectives to score more victory points at the end of the game. You may also migrate and place a camp to the base terrain tile and then move your camps as well to other terrains. Each terrain offers a special reward before the next round, and each camp on a terrain tile gives 1 influence. With the middle section of this action, if you have 3 camps adjacent, you can spend 3 extra food and replace them with a village. The village is 2 influence for each of the 3 tiles it is on, so it wins the majority against one single camp, meaning that this player only will be able to get the benefit of a terrain in that case. And last, we have the hunt action, which allows you to place the top card of the animal deck in the animal display and then take an animal for every 2 labor that you spend, like we saw already. The middle section allows you to tip animals and kill them for meat. If you keep them straight and not kill them, at the end of the game you gain points equal to how many of the same you have collected. The set collection points are on each card. Apart from these 4 actions, there is another action you can do, and it is on your player board. You can place your figure on your Eclipse action space and you may draw 1 card from your deck. You may do this action again in a round, and each figure you place there will count as 2 labor points during the next Eclipse phase. And this brings us to the eclipse. During the Stone Age period, there were astronomical phenomena like eclipses and were interpreted as spiritual signs that led to a new generation taking over. During the eclipse, players can get a lot of stuff. First, the cards you thought of keeping aside for the eclipse give you labor, and each figure counts for 2 labor, and the ranking in labor for the eclipse sets the new player order. Player order is important as the higher you are, the better things you can get. You get 1 thing among these from your position downwards. Then you gain all benefits uncovered in your player board and from cards played in the eclipse. And last, you gain the benefits from terrain tiles that you have influence or are tied for influence. One very important thing in the game are also the megaliths. With this symbol, you get to place 1 megalith on these tiles, which can be placed differently for each game. The first ones are gray for each player, and when you place a megalith, it grants you the stuff of that spot. But eventually, you can build on other megaliths and create a structure. At the end of the game, for each megalith of a higher level of your color, you get points multiplied by your megaliths on lower levels. Last thing that also grants you points is the offering track. This idol symbol allows you to progress in one of the tracks, either the honor track for your buried cards or the offering track. The position of your marker on the offering track determines the ratio of your leftover food and tools to points. The higher you rank on the track, the more points you get and the better the conversion becomes. There is lots of stuff going on in the game, but the round flows pretty well once you get the hang of it. There is many different mini games to think about, like the megalith structure, for example, all with different incentives and combos, which affords many different playing styles for the players. And then there's the deck building part in it. You can plan ahead and maybe choose to play equally in each turn, or keep your cards for the next round and burn them all at once to have a super mega turn. It's up to you how to play them. This, in combination with the fact that you can do each action as long as you can afford it, makes you feel very powerful. It gives lots of agency to the players, which for me, it's a big success in a board game. So this was Endless Winter Paleoamericans. If you want to know more about this game, I'll have the link in the description below so you can check it out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.